You're listening to Spiritually Connected with Tanya Lee. I'm your host, Tanya Lee. Our guest today is the fabulous and extremely talented Tina Conroy. Since childhood, Tina knew she was connected to something greater than herself. At an early age, Tina realized she inherited her psychic grandmother's gifts of prophetic dreams. We have to learn more about that. Visions that were always vivid, full of sensory details, and eventually real. Since then, she has spent over 20 years attuning her mind and body to truly listening to that internal voice that can predict or advise and inspired by a greater power. Now, Tina strives to help others to strengthen their inner voice by improving mental and physical health, synchronizing the mind body connection. As an intuitive energy healer and medium, she is also the host of the Intuitive Women's Podcast, a weekly podcast that explores intuition. As if that's not all she does, Tina is a yoga instructor and a Reiki master teacher at the Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine, working with women to develop their intuition, connect with their inner guidance, create a passionate and spiritual life. Oh my gosh, I can't wait to get in. Please welcome the beautiful Tina Conroy.
Hello, Tanya. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, I am too. I gotta be honest, I stalked you a little bit to check you out because I happened to see you doing a live or something you were doing, and I'm like, oh my God, I love her. I want her on.
Well, thank you. And I did the same. So the stalking is a good thing. And I loved your energy. I loved your vibration. And we just connected. I think we started chatting on IG.
Yeah,
And I was like, I got to get to know that woman. So let's do
right.
it.
And we happen to have a really cool connection. The beautiful Miss Debbie. How can you deny her?
Debbie's like a bird song. She goes, I love her. And I did a Facebook Live with her. And I know you're going to be doing an amazing event with her, with Maria as well. And I just love her. I love her energy. She's so high vibe. She breaks into song when she connects with spirit. I mean, who does that? I love it. So, yes, love Debbie Squizero. Big shout out to her. An amazing, amazing woman in medium for
Mhm.
sure.
Definitely. I love it. So that's how we're now connected until we stalked each other, of course.
Of
I love
course.
it. I love it. So Tina, you and I are connected in the way that our grandmothers both worked with us, even more so on the other side. So tell me about how you got started. When did you realize you were actually psychic?
Oh my goodness. So I guess I realized I was psychic when I was a child, but I didn't know the name psychic. I didn't know a medium and I didn't know intuitive. But my grandmother is very pivotal in my story. My grandmother on my father's side would have prophetic dreams. And these dreams were always, unfortunately, they were bad. They always led to someone dying or passing away. And so we called my grandmother Grandmommy. So we didn't call her Grandma. And she's in spirit now. And she's one of my angels and my guides. And we talk all the time. And so she would have these dreams and she would contact the entire family by phone and say, I just had the dream, and something bad's going to happen. Where is everybody going to be? So she would just make sure, is everyone okay? Where's everybody going? So forth. And this would happen throughout my lifetime. And when I was 13 years old, she had the dream, and we all knew she had the dream because she did the phone calls to my mom, to my sisters, to her children, and wanted to get the lay of the land where everybody was. And I remember my mom saying, everyone's good, we're okay. And that evening, I was in eighth grade. I'll never forget this time. And we were headed out roller skating. Roller skating was a big thing. And we were literally walking into the car, and the phone was ringing, the home line. And my mom went back in to pick it up. And when she did, she found out that my uncle had passed suddenly and tragically at 33 years old.
Mm.
And so the interesting part to this, and I didn't know this then, it was the first death in the family that was sudden and shocking to me. My uncle was very important to me. He was around me all the time. I'm a big Italian family, so every Sunday dinner, and it was really a shock. But what I found out later on is the dream that my grandmother had that did result in him passing was that she was shown a black limousine, and she was shown my mother and my father in the limousine. And interestingly enough, my dad and mom lived in the suburbs of New York, and my dad worked in Manhattan. They contacted a black limousine to pick up my mom and dad And my dad had to be the one to tell his sister that her husband had passed. And she was left with a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. Since then, over time, I just always thought it was scary. And I would have many dreams that would come true, and they would be good or bad, and just intuitive insights. And my whole life, I had a lot of those things happening. And then I had a lot of psychic, interesting, paranormal things happening in my room. Things I felt presence, I felt spirit. I didn't see spirit, but I felt spirit, and I was afraid of the dark, deathly afraid of the dark. And I could feel an energy or feel something. Of course, I always thought it was bad because I was brought up Catholic. So I thought it's got to be the devil. They're going to come and get me and I'm going to get possessed. Right? Like,
Yeah,
doesn't everybody think that?
totally, totally. Yes, yes.
So being the oldest, I would want to sleep with my younger sister, who's 2 years younger, who was really, a tough person. And she was like, oh, you got to sleep with me again. But things interesting would happen in my room. I would feel somebody in my room. I would see things. I would see my stereo move and things move, really interesting things. Looking back on it now, I don't think it was anything bad or negative. I believe it was just spirit getting my attention. So fast forward, life goes on. You got to grow up. You become a teenager. You do all the teenager stuff. I go to college and I'm dating my boyfriend, who is my husband now. We're married 28 years.
Wow.
And we're 5 hours apart in college. We're pretty far apart. And he's in Pennsylvania. I'm in upstate New York. And I have a dream. I can remember the dream to this day, that he's being chased. He's in a car with a bunch of other people. There are people behind him with guns and a flatbed truck, and I can feel the car moving and all this. So I wake up and I call the fraternity house. Remember back in the day, there were no cell phones. And he finally gets to the phone and I said, are you okay? And I had this dream, and I start to explain the dream. And he didn't even know what to say. He was like, everything I said had happened. And thank God he was okay. And that was sort of the first time that I was like, oh, this is now coming back. Like, these dreams are coming back. And then fast forward. I knew that I was going to have a son, and I had a son. I had 3 miscarriages. I knew something was wrong. I knew I was going to have a daughter, all those things. But really, my entryway was yoga. I became a yoga teacher. I had 2 children by 29. I started practicing yoga and then teaching yoga to children. Then yoga led me to Reiki, and then Reiki opened up everything again. And it blew the doors off the psychic and medium world. And from there, I have been pursuing this, and I've been always developing. So I don't ever stop developing, but that's been my transition. I think of it that my spirit wasn't safe enough to get into or open up the psychic and medium world. So they said, let's open the yoga door, then we'll open the Reiki door. And now it's time for you to fly. So that's how I feel. I don't think I was really ready as a human. I was scared because of my upbringing. So I think spirit just prepared me little by little, that now these were the stepping stones, and I just followed the breadcrumbs, and I'm really glad I did. So
I love how you I love your story, and I love I'm like, here, listen, every time you talked about a new part of the story, I'm like, wait, go back to there. What do you mean? How come he was chased? What happened? Anyways, I love what at the end of it, I love the part where you talk about the breadcrumbs and following them and being ready to do it. So you knew there was something there. You're like, okay, I can agree with that. I was so afraid of the dark growing up too. And my parents not for any of this. And so, or didn't even have it in their realm, let's say. And so I feel you. And it's totally illogical for us to have, be afraid of the dark, so afraid of the dark. So if I could sleep with, my aunties or uncles or no, wrong choice of words here. If I could sleep with my aunties or I only had a brother growing up, but then my sisters came much later, 12 and 14 years later. So I'm with you. I feel you. I totally feel you. I like that.
yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
it wasn't the when I say that I was afraid of the dark, like it was intense. There was a time where I ended up, would beg my parents to sleep in their room or
Mhm.
sleep. And at one point, I mean, I'm like 12 or 13 at this point, I'm like, and they were like, no, and they closed the door and they locked the door. And I slept on the bathroom rug with the light on. Like it was truly terrorizing. Even now, I don't like to sleep in complete darkness and I
Mhm.
like to have a little light on. So, I mean, here I am all these years later and but I'm a little bit better now because I know that nobody's really trying to get me. Nobody's trying to hurt me. And I understand now. So that makes a lot easier.
I agree. Okay, so let's talk about that. So anybody that has that's younger, that has the issues of, being afraid of the dark, because I'm with you. I still have some sort of light, or I love having, I have shade on my window, but I love having it open just a crack so that um just street lights can come in, or it's not pitch black. I can't do pitch black. So for anybody that's little or even adult, what would you say to them to make them feel at ease?
So what I would say is, and I've done this with my children. So my children are in their 20s. So, and both of them, well, one was more afraid of the dark than the other. I would acknowledge that it's okay that they can be afraid, but to explain to them, well, to not be like, oh, it'll go away. Explain to them that you're safe and that I would bring in now, I think it would have a very different conversation. I would say, you're okay and you're safe and you have light around you. I would maybe even bring in the angels. I was taught many years ago a little prayer, and I would probably teach that prayer to them, or I would share with them, maybe say something that keeps them feel safe, because it's just giving them the acknowledgement that they're not crazy and that they're okay, and just to acknowledge and say it's okay, or maybe even if they were a little bit older, maybe even speak to them. I don't know, it depends on the ages, but to acknowledge and not poo poo it away.
Exactly. I love that. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I feel like our parents and parents' parents didn't always know. I think that I know you grew up in New York. I mean, I grew up in Canada. My parents were not in, like I said, in that realm. So it's you don't know what you don't know. And so I think the kids nowadays, with everything being so much more open and us being closer, the veil being thinner and all that kind of stuff we talk about, I think there's a lot more kids that are more, I don't want to call them sensitive because that's not it, but more attuned to that life, like the spiritual life. Would you agree with that?
I would. And you know what? My children now, so I have a 27-year-old son and 23-year-old daughter. We talk about our dreams. And ever since they were little, they'll say, Mom, I had this dream and this happened. And they'll talk in detail about it. Or my son and I are very telepathic, by the way. So we have a telepathic conversation all the time. And I literally can, sit and, his name is Michael, and telepathically speak to him, and he'll telepathically back to me, and then we're texting each other. So we have a very interesting, so we have a lot of that intuitive psychic connections. So we kept it very open. I kept it very, very open. My daughter works with crystals and energy of the vibrations of the crystals. So they're, it's just keeping that conversation open and having them be able to speak to you about it.
I love that. Yeah. See, good mom advice. I'm not a mom, so at least Tina can tell you guys.
It's also more, I think, just like anything as we evolve, it's also more accepted. It's
Mhm.
more accepted that these things are not scary or bad, and that psychic and mediumship and angel work and all this is accepted. And people, I didn't even know what the word intuitive was growing up. They know what that is. They know they have intuition. They know what intuition is. It's very different. It's more mainstream.
It is. Yes. It's more, yeah, more acceptable and more, I talk to dead people, I mean, there's lots of TV shows about it now too. So I think that all helps us as well. Especially that, have had it ever since we were children. You know what I mean?
Yes, I agree. And I think too, I think that the more that people talk about it in basic terms, it's not so everyone has to be special, and you have to have it from a child too, because, you and I do have that. And I think everyone as a child has some kind of memory of that. But a lot of people's origin story may have happened later in life. It could have been when they birthed their own child. It could have been when they had a accident or near death experience. So it's interesting how things are changing, which is so good that you don't have to be special. And I always say that it's not a gift, it's an ability, And so I do believe that the gift for me, definitely a pass down from my grandmother, but it's also an ability that I get to increase and work on. And I think everybody has it. It's just a matter of if they want to develop it or not, too. So that's changed a lot too, I think, in society.
I love that. So I do call, like, for me, I love how you phrase that. I do call it a gift, but I feel like it's a gift bestowed upon me. But I feel like everybody has, like, I feel like everybody's born psychic. There's,
Yeah.
bottom line. So I love how you distinguish the two, because it's true. I feel the same way. I feel like if you choose to develop it, you can develop it as far as what you practice. Comes about. So I love that. I love that. Okay,
I
let's
agree.
keep going. What is your favorite modality? Is it tarot cards, mediumship, crystals? What is it?
Oh my
Healing?
goodness. Oh, so I don't work in the tarot or tarot cards. I do work with oracle cards or angel cards, and I'll work with those on a personal, just to get to know myself. I pull a card every day. So I have my own spiritual practice where I pull a card. I pull a card every morning for myself. I
Mm.
journal. I run my own energy, meaning self Reiki, and I'll do a little meditation. So that's sort of my daily practice, and I think that's where it really begins with myself. I love everything. I love crystals. I love energy work, and I love mediumship work. So for me as a person, and then what do I do? So I see a lot of people during the week, and it just varies. Some weeks I may see more people for Reiki and energy healing. Sometimes I see more people for psychic and mediumship reading. I really used to be, I'm a Capricorn, I'm very earthy, and I like to know what I'm doing, and I'm very organized, I'm very goal oriented, but I have allowed myself to let go of that a little bit and say, where does spirit need me? So every morning I kind of wake up with a prayer and say, wherever you need me, let me be, let me be wherever you need.
Love
So I may see people, it depends on what your spirit needs me to show up, I'll show up. So I'm grateful that I have been guided with different teachers of learning the different modalities, because you may see more psychic readings in a month or in certain times, and you may see more Reiki healings. And I think whatever people need at the time, that's what works for me. I'm very grateful that I can do those three modalities, like, and not that they're really separated, but they are sometimes, because some people just want Reiki, some people just want psychic. But it's hard for me. That's a hard question, Tanya. I don't know which is my favorite. I think I love it all. I think it all comes together. It's an umbrella. So I love medium and psychic readings. And also, I just did 2 energy healings earlier this morning, and they were very profound, and people got a lot, they get a lot out of them. They came for different reasons, but it's wherever spirit puts me, and I'm available to do it. So I guess that's, if I didn't really answer that, but it's hard for me to pick. It's hard for me to pick.
You don't have to pick. I think you answered that beautifully. You know what? If we had to flip it, I would say the same thing. I think I would be along the same lines as you. Although I think coming from me, it's I love the teaching. So I love psychic and I love mediumship, and then I love teaching. So I think that's where I would probably. But I'm with you. That's a tough question.
It is a tough question. It is. I mean, my week looks very different every week. I do have mentorship students. I have people that I do mentorship and teaching. I have Reiki students. I have readings. I have Reiki treatments. I mean, every week is going to look different. And I think that's the way spirit wants to work with me. I'm the kind of person that does not like to be pigeonholed or put into a box. Even when I became a yoga teacher, I remember there was, well, you could do this type of teaching or this type of teaching. It was like, wait, can I do all those teachings? Can I do restorative
Right?
and vinyasa and such and such? Like, I don't want to just do this. So spirit really works with you as a person and you as a personality to kind of serve.
Woman after my own heart, because I don't want to be restricted either. Aries all the way. That's why we get along so well.
Right. Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
you're also a 9 life path, which I absolutely love. So before we hopped on the podcast, I asked everybody what their date of birth is. And so I can find out. So you're a nine, and nine is about completion. I absolutely love that. So I'm like, I'm a five. And so I love my freedom. Everything's freedom for me. So a nine and a five, we get along really well. Oh, I knew this would be fun.
I don't know too much about it's so interesting. I'm so intrigued with numerology and the numbers, and I don't know much about it. So even when you said that, I'm like, wow, tell me more. Tell me more. I think I was told that I was a nine, but I don't really know what that is. So I'm so glad that you explained it. And it's very interesting to me, the whole number thing, the whole numerology and our life path number. So I love that.
That's just the beginning. I think I'm going to have to do a whole segment on it because it so numbers really resonate for you. People's names and people's numbers really resonate for me. So as soon as I have that feeling of I connect with people's names when I do it psychically, I will write out their name and then it's like spirits like go time. And I just start pulling in whatever I need. And then the numbers, I love finding out where people are at in the cycle of life. So that's just date of birth. That's just the beginning. Then I also go into, hey, what's somebody's full name in spelling, like word wise? And then I'll do the numbers that way. And so when I was born with my biological father's name, which is Heart. And when later on, much later on in life, I did the numerology for it, and it's very stressful, strenuating, a tough, really tough go number when it came down to it. And then as I got older, my name switched, went back to her main name, which is still short, but Dyer. And it was much better. It's a lot like smoother lifetime, but a very dampened lifetime. And now I have this really long Ukrainian last name that is ridiculous. And so it's actually really good, business oriented, very entrepreneurship, very. So then I'm engaged to be married, and I'm going, okay, I better check what this looks like too. Okay, we're good. It's good.
I love that. See, this I'm learning something. I did not know that names had I mean, I knew I had to assume that names had vibration, but I didn't realize that names had vibration connected to numbers. So that's
Yeah.
totally cool. I love that.
Cool, cool. Yeah, I love it. It resonates. And it goes to what you're talking about. Um, we the breadcrumbs. We pick up what numbers and like you pick up what makes the most resonates for you. You know what I mean? And then we're
Yeah.
always growing. I also said that I also love that you're always growing too, because if I'm not in my own classroom, I'm in somebody else's. And so you've worked with Lindsay Marino too, right?
Yes, yes. I'm in her medium mastery circle. So we meet. It's just a great group of many mediums, mostly women and men, and it's a membership. So we have a Facebook group, we have deliverables, and that's how I met Debbie, and I've met a few other amazing people. So it's really nice to actually speak to and connect with like-minded people and not feel to be vulnerable and to talk about the ups and the downs of mediumship and the ups and downs of of what we're talking about. And we talk about psychic as well, but just all of it, because it changes and we're always developing. And also once a month we do practice circles, and we have, she's just great. I love her. She's just like a little beacon angel. Like she's just I love her to death. So, and that's how I met Debbie, of course.
I love that. She was on so Lindsay was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Good. Oh,
So,
yay.
and
Okay.
she's just lovely. So
She's a great teacher. She's just an
yeah.
amazing mentor. She's
Oh,
great. Yeah.
big shout out to her. Look at that. Go. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. All right. So I want to talk about what you're working on right now. So you talked about your master psychic circle. What else are you working on personally?
So I had last year, I had a lot of really wonderful things happen last year, which is interesting, right? So the silver lining of 2020. But one of the things that I was always playing with and always wanting to do actually came into fruition. So I always took I have a 4-week intuitive development course. It's a one-on-one course, and I've had many women go through it over the last couple of years. And I always wanted to have a membership of some sort. And last year, I actually very simple, very easy. I'm very like, do it. I'm the kind of person that does something and then thinks about it later.
Love
If I
that.
think about it too long, it's never going to happen. So I'm
Mhm.
sort of the, done is better than perfect person. So I reached out to a bunch of women that had done the course with me, and I said, I want to create a spirit circle. Very simple. It's not very in depth right now. And we met once a month. We had our last spirit circle was 2020 this past week.
Mm.
And I brought together just a group of women, and we had practice circle. We talked about different events. We talked about everything. And my step into 2021 is really expanding that circle. I don't know how it's going to look. And I think it's good because I like to just open up to whatever universe wants to share, but open it up to a broader audience to really bring in that development. And
Mm.
the other thing that I'm really excited about, and to actually say it on air is going to be exciting, is I'm in the process of making my own oracle cards.
Oh,
So
yes. Perfect.
I have been wanting to do this for 3 years.
Mhm.
I finally sat down with my very good friend who is also an artist, and it is coming in 2021. I feel like now is the time and it's going to be birthed. So I am thrilled. And I keep telling the universe, I'm ready, I'm available, and I'm open. So for 3 years, I've been wanting to do cards and it just didn't happen. It wasn't maybe the right time, but this is the right time. So those are the two big projects that I'm working on in 2021. So I'm
Love,
excited. So hopefully this time next year have my cards in the hand.
love that. Let me know when you get them because I definitely want them. Your energy is through the roof. It's just so amazing. I love it. So I know you'll put every ounce of you in those cards. I have to get a set of those for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's going to be for individuals, anybody, but it's also a learning for psychic and mediums to use in their practice. So that's going to be the focus of it, that any psychic and medium can use it in their sessions, but obviously anyone can use it for their personal growth. Yeah.
Beautiful. Love that. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
So speaking of readings, are you open to doing a couple of readings with us?
Sure. Yeah,
Oh,
let's do it.
so I have an inner circle that I absolutely love and cherish, and I love sending love to them. So these ones are in the inner circle, and so we're gonna read that. I'm gonna have you read a couple of them just to let you guys all know. I have said the first names only to Tina as when I invited her on. I asked if she's open to doing them, and so she knows nothing about them. She hasn't. That's my inner circle. Nobody else gets in. She can't Google them. She can't nothing. And so, with the exception of two of the first names with the last name initial, so that we're very clear about it. Other than that, just to confirm, you have no other idea about them, right?
Yep. I don't know anybody.
Perfect. I love that. And I want to be straight up. Like I always want to be transparent about how this works and where it is. So let's start with the first one. Miss Jackie G.
Jackie G. So I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute and connect to your energy. Jackie G. So as I step into your energy, I feel like they show me the path out in front of me. So I'm kind of just moving into more of, and I'm reading psychically. I like to say what I do because sometimes they might feel. And as I open up the energy, I feel like they're showing me, I'm very clairvoyant. So there's almost like 3 paths. So there's something about the number 3. So I would say really look at the number 3 and the trios of 3. As I look at that, they're showing me three paths, 3 different ways to take. So there's a decision coming up and there's something very important. I want you to also remember, it's very important, and Spirit is showing me, my guides are showing me that the month of March is going to be very, very significant for you. Now they are bringing me back to I feel like you're on a healing path already. There's a lot of healing. There's a lot of, my hands are warming up. So I feel like Reiki, energy work, something like that. And I feel like if you're not already, crystals, I want to just say crystals. I want to say adorn yourself with crystals. It's interesting too, because they want to show me like working with the hands. So it'd be interesting to know that. And I know I'm not getting the feedback, but interesting with the hands. So either jewelry with crystals or working with crystals. But that would be something to move into, I feel like. But yeah, there's a whole thing about decision making and moving into something. I feel like you're a leader. There's a lot of energy behind being a leader and also stepping up. You've done a lot of self work. You've done a lot of inner work. And there's been a lot of really pivotal people in your life that has kind of spurred you to where you are. So you have a lot of cheerleaders. you have a very, very strong spirit team. I feel like you work in the angelic realm and you work with like really high vibration, and to continue to do that. I would also say that there's something to go deeper with that. So go deeper with the angelic realm and go deeper with the crystal realm. And I'm being shown that because I work with angels and crystals. So every angel does have a crystal combination. I am getting a name around you. So I'm not sure if I'm picking it up, to be honest, in spirit, but I feel like the name Joseph is coming up for you. So I just want you to hold that. It may be somebody that's connected to you, but I feel like there's an importance there. It feels like a relationship. It feels like there's something, a connection with that name. So I just want to leave that with you. Ooh, I also feel like it feels like there's a location change, a shift in location change. At least it's permeating here in the energy. Feels really, really good. So if you have not already made that decision, it is going to be a decision to happen. I do have a mother figure stepping forward. It's hard because I can't hear her voice and vibration, but it feels mother energy. It feels like she is in spirit world. I almost want to like just kind of pat on the head and a pat on the back. So I am getting someone, I don't have a name, so I'll be honest with that. But I do feel like mother connection, stepping forward from the other side, works with you. You call her forth. She helps you as your guide. And I'm getting something with the letter A connected to her. So just I see a big A over her head. So I'm not sure if any of that resonates. I know it's a little challenging because you'll have to go back and forth and see. I just want to see what they want to say. Yeah, you're a healer. You're a healer, honey. So I just want to say, I want to be like, you're a healer. Keep going, keep moving, keep moving. You've had a couple really difficult times in your life, but you again have really, I want to use the term, which is interesting, like pulled yourself up from the bootstraps. So I don't know where that's coming from, but you're really strong, and to keep working forward and keep going forward. You're really stepping into your own power. So I feel like 2021 is going to be a really breath of fresh air. And I do have to say that 2020 for you, as much as it's, we know about 2020, it's been a lot of growth. You've had a lot of spiritual growth in 2020. You've done things that you never thought you could do, and you took a lot of risks. So keep doing it and keep stepping into 2021. So and I just want to thank your spirit team. Keep talking to them.
Love that. I can confirm most of that because she's actually one of my mentees.
Oh, okay. You know her pretty well. Okay, good.
Confirm a lot of that.
I'm like, it's kind of interesting when you're talking and I'm like, I don't know if this is any hitting home.
I love it. I know them all pretty well, so I'll be able
to. Oh,
good.
So
you just hear me like nodding at you, and I'm like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. I wonder if I'm her, but I'm not. The only one I couldn't, the Joseph I can confirm I know about. So that's a great connection. The only one I can't confirm is actually her mother in spirit. I don't know if her mom is in spirit that I recall. I'll double check with her and I'll get back to you on that. I think it might be her grandma, but I'll just double check. It might be.
Yeah, check with that letter A. If connected to her with that letter A, what that significance would be.
That's awesome. All right.
Change location, anything like that?
Yes, there is something with regard to that. So she is percolating on it. I love that you said that because she absolutely is. There is this thought that's just come to her this year. And like you said, for 2020, for all of it, she's had a lot of growth this year, and she is taking beautiful risks that are aligning perfectly for her. She is stepping into becoming a healer. So it's just
good.
Beautiful.
Good. Beautiful. Oh, I love it. I love it. Yes.
That's amazing. All right. How about Dallas?
Ooh, love the name. Okay. Oh, it's so interesting because, of course, I'm visual. So, of course, I see like Dallas from the TV show, right? I'm aging myself, but.
Me too.
I'll just take a nice deep breath in. Mm-hmm. So I feel like this is a memory. I'm going back to a memory. So spirit team is bringing me back to a memory. And usually when I get a memory, it's for you to kind of remind yourself. There's a very big, strong message to go back to being playful. Going back to being playful and going back to being more childlike. it's almost like you're very serious, and you're very like, you have a lot of serious stuff, right? I know we all have serious stuff, but the biggest message I'm getting from my guides and your guides is to really go back to that playful nature. And so what I would say is, what do you do for fun? So that's the biggest thing I want to say. I want to say, like, what do you do for fun? Bring more fun into your life and bring more play into your life. Things are just, it feels serious. It feels really serious. Um, so, oh my goodness. I feel there's been a recent, I feel like there's been a recent relationship shift or change. There's been a recent, I almost want to see a change in a relationship, like a love relationship. So something has recently changed. Something has recently, uh, definitely shifted. And so I feel a lot of sadness. I'm actually getting a lot of sadness in my heart, but it's also kind of, it was time. It was time. So we have contracts, and they're kind of showing me that. They kind of show me this contract, and how the spirit does it is it's like this rolled up contract paper. And it's like the contract was done. So you had your time together, but you learned a lot of lessons from it. It still has there's still a lot of residue. So I know you're still kind of working with that, but I do feel like it's stepping into a new time for you. You're very hesitant, though. I feel like it's almost like bringing someone else into, it's opening your heart. And so you're still a little hesitant to doing that, but spirits is saying, it'll be okay. Open yourself up. Yeah. So I'm feeling a lot in the heart. So I'm just going to say that if you're not already a healer, I would say really work with the heart chakra. I work a lot with crystals. So again, it could be rose quartz. It could also be malachite. So I'm almost thinking malachite for you. Malachite is the green stone, if you're not sure. And so there's a lot of this heart work, a lot of this heart kind of work. I do see something about a child. So I just want to kind of tune in here. I feel like I'm picking up what I would call a spirit baby. So, spirit baby is a baby that either was lost in utero or miscarriage. But it's interesting. I see, or that's coming in for you. So, I'm seeing three. It's again another three, but I'm seeing three spirit babies around you. So, I just want to give that to you. If you don't already have children, there are three. When I talk in spirit babies, that means that babies are really waiting for us to call them forth. So, but we have to have the free will to call them in. So, I do see three spirit babies around you, that are like, want to be birthed. And again, so just stay with that. Oh, I feel like one of the works that you do is you like to work with the cards. I think cards for you is something that's really, really interesting. You really like to work with it. So it may be the tarot, it might be the oracle, but I feel like I want to do movement. I want to do cards. And then they're bringing me back to, again, I want to just go back to that playful essence, playful and pleasure, playful and pleasure. So really that's the biggest message I'm getting for you. I want to see if I'm getting anything else. Oh, I don't know. I just got this image of like laughter yoga. Like it's
Ooh,
silly. I don't know if you've ever done laughter yoga,
yes.
but so it's almost like I want wherever you are in the world, look into laughter yoga. Even if you don't do it or teach it, take a class and just like belly laugh. I want to like give you this big belly laugh from your stomach and laughter yoga. So just like do things out of the box. That's the biggest message that I'm getting. And the other thing is that you are enough. You are enough. You are enough. I want to keep saying that you are enough. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are enough. There's a lot of chitter chatter in your head. I kind of call it like either the mean girl or the mean boy or whatever voice it has. And so you really are enough. There's a lot about around that, even deeper. So really work with your guides and allow them to know that you are worthy. It's a big, how do they want to explain it? It's a big theme in your life, and you're working hard on it, and just keep telling yourself. So really mantra, I am worthy, I am enough, I am worthy, I'm enough. So really lots of self-love, lots of self-love. That's the biggest message that's really coming through. So hopefully that's helpful, Dallas.
That is amazing, especially the self-love part and the play part. All of it's really good. It just, especially those two pieces right there. So
Good.
well
Well,
done. Well
hopefully it
done.
was
I love that.
helpful.
It's very,
Thanks.
I think so. How about Tiana?
Tiana. Ooh. So I'm just going to kind of tune into the vibration of your name. It's a little, it's really, this is the first time I've ever done it without another voice. because for me, voice brings vibration, or obviously sometimes but just having a name. So it's interesting. So I'm welcoming this opportunity and challenge. Thank you, Tanya.
You're killing it too, by the way.
All right. Can you say her name 3 times for me? I'm just going to
Sure.
close my eyes.
Tiana, Tiana, Tiana.
Mm. So Tiana, when I step into your energy, I just have like twinkly eyes. Like I just have these twinkly eyes. Like that is it's almost like people see you and they want to friend you. You feel you're warm, you're bubbly. And they kind of see me as like, so this is how I see it. So everybody to me has a different energy. Like there's angel energy and fairy energy and even extraterrestrial energy. You're a fairy. You are a fairy, and people just want to like come around you. Um, Playful, joyful, like this is your vibration that I'm getting. I want to even be like Tinkerbell, like just cutesy. So the thing that they want to share with me is, as much as your vibration is playful and all of this, that you are so loyal, and you have so many, you're so loyal, and the biggest thing for you is trust. And so it's really difficult to you when other people have let you down. And you can't, it's very hard for you to understand. You're like a being that just is like full of love, just like full of love. I almost, it feels like a Woodstock child, like love, peace, but loyal is a big thing, and trust. And so there has been some, friendships and relationships that have not gone well, and there's been a lot of betrayal. There's been some betrayal and not trust, and it's been very, very painful. I feel it in my gut. So where before someone else, I felt it here, I'm really feeling in the solar plexus. Very, very clairsentient and very empathic. So you feel a lot, and so as a feeler, you have to really watch your boundaries. So what I would say, and my guides are kind of saying, is you really need to do a lot of grounding cord meditations. Also like clear yourself, salt baths, don't get crazy on the rituals, but really just know where your energy starts and where your energy stops. Cause you're like a sponge, you're kind of pulling it in. I feel too that you've experimented in many different kind of spiritual things. Like I'm almost getting like, yes, oracle cards and crystals, but I'm also getting a little bit ritualistic stuff. And I don't know that much about that because that's not my realm, but more on the new moon and full moon and Wicca. And, again, I'm not going to put terms in, but very ritualistic, because you're like a nature fairy. You're just a nature fairy. So really that. So I don't even know what I'm talking about, but I feel like these rituals are important. Like I almost see like, they show me like a forest, and like you would be the one where like everybody be wearing like little crystals, and you bring like almost like a full moon ceremony. Like you want to bring women together. Oh, and you're big on the female, bringing women together, and big on the female. I also feel there's a blog in your future. If you're not already writing a blog, that's your way in, like a blog and writing. And interesting enough, I also hear your voice. So I wouldn't be interested if at some point you have a podcast as well. So voice is really important. So hopefully that landed somewhere. But wow, you're fun. I want to hang out with you in fairy time world.
That is fantastic. You know what? When you talk, so I know Tiana very well, and I've known her for a lot of years, and it never resonated. I probably know her too close, so that's why I didn't think of this. But the fairy totally resonates with about that, and everything. Like I could see her doing the podcast for sure. I'm with you on that. And she is just this quintessential, beautiful, so like cutesy. What's interesting about this is, and she's beautiful too, inside and out, is she stands nearly 6 feet tall, but you don't feel that with her. I mean, you just standing next to her at 5'5", I feel it, but
Right.
it's not that. She's has this angelic essence to her that I absolutely love. And I think you're right about the if she doesn't have it now, I think about the women's circle or something like that. And the I know she's big on rituals, but I can definitely see the her coming into the the women's circle more, and the forest, and and teaching others that way, or being with them that way too. I think that's really bang on.
There's something about her eyes that I was really guided to. So her eyes, even if it's not necessarily the color, and if you know the color, you can share with
Blue,
me.
blue.
But okay, because I was going to say that was like what spirit wanted me to go into, that twinkly little eye. And
Mhm.
of course, when I see twinkly, I mean, I have brown eyes. I think any color eye can be twinkly, but I always think of the lighter color. So yeah, she definitely has that.
Definitely, definitely.
Beautiful. Yeah.
She actually happens to be my relation. She's a cousin of mine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I'm helping her in this realm, helping her establish it, because she has no sense of base. So I love that. Love that.
Yeah, it'd really be interesting. You'll have to like touch base on me again. I don't know timing, but this blogging and podcasting, there's something with the voice and the throat, like getting an expression out. So
Do you know she follow? Yes, 100%. We can go on about her, but yeah. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm confirming everything for you. Uh, people follow her from all over the place just because of how her style is. She's really good on Insta. So, yeah,
cool.
I'm going to show you a picture of her later, and you'll be like, okay,
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. Cool. How about the last one? Ashley Q.
Q. Can you spell it for me?
Ashley,
Q, just a
yeah,
Q.
just the Q.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Got it.
Last name
Got it.
just the
Okay.
Q.
Q.
Yeah.
Q. Okay. I didn't know if you said Q like with a C U like okay,
Is
got
in
it.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So right away, I'm kind of stepping into the energy of Ashley, and they're showing me. I'm just gonna kind of see what I got. So for me, I have this is the image that Spirit works with me. Um, I'm in Radio City Music Hall. Of course, I'm from New York, and the curtains are kind of coming up. So this they're a heavy velvet curtain that kind of rise up. So if you ever even seen it on TV, um, I feel like I feel like there's been something been lifted off of you. Something's that's been there's a change and there's a shift, and there's definitely been something lifted off. And the heaviness of the curtain is also very symbolic, that it's been heavy and now it's getting lighter. Like things are getting lighter, things are getting freer. Um, yeah, there was definitely a lot of constriction, and I feel like a lot of confusion over in the past. So I feel like there's been confusion and constriction, and as I kind of feel like it's starting to lift, and so it's really interesting. I'm seeing a lot of family dynamic. I'm going back more into that kind of thing. There's a lot of family dynamic, and it's like almost like I want to say like, oh my goodness, they almost show me like a family feud. So maybe it's not to that extent, but it's all like a family feud, and it's been very disruptive. It's like and it's still happening. It's still going on, but you're definitely healing from it. You're moving through it. I almost want to see like, what is it like oh my gosh, what are those two families that fought like, um, the Hatfields and the McCoys or
Right.
something?
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Okay. Like I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm seeing that, but it's a lot. It's like, and it's generational. It's generational, and it's definitely something that you're kind of taking with you. You kind of have it in your being. Spirit is kind of sharing with me that it'd be really wonderful if you can get some energy healing for yourself. I feel you're already a healer, but really you need some energy. You need some healing on that to go deep, and inner child work, really kind of work on that. So that is kind of the picture they're showing me. Um, yeah, I want to just keep talking about this. I want to see if I can move into another direction, but they're bringing me to the relationship with your dad. Not healthy, not a healthy relationship. Very, yeah, not good. Again, working through it. You're kind of like, we're working through it. And I want to say that there's so much that you have had to go through. There's so much that you've had to conquer. There's so much that you have to, um, deal with, in a better lack of term. There were moments in your life that's showing me that you kind of had the blinders on, like you didn't want to see anything, like I'm not going to see it, I'm not going to see it. It's like, no, 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 don't tell me, don't show me. But now it's sort of like it's been coming out, and it's really healthy, even though it's very painful. I wouldn't be surprised if I feel like I feel they want to keep saying to me, you're a teacher, you're a teacher, you're a teacher. So you are going to teach. And I don't even know if it's like kids teaching, but I feel like it just your nature is to teach and to grow. And you're going to be speaking and you're going to be teaching differently than I think I just spoke about someone else. But I feel like teaching is in your being. Um, yeah, I just want to keep using the word teacher, teacher, teacher. So it'll be interesting. Um, Let me see if I can move ahead a little bit. All right, they just gave me a really interesting scene, which is really interesting. So they're showing me, I'm just going to say it, right? Because that's what we're supposed to do, right? Tanya,
Yeah.
see it, say it.
Right.
I'm seeing Ireland. I don't know. I'm seeing like Ireland. So now when I see Ireland, I mean, it'd be great if you're going to Ireland. I hope you are. I've never been. It's on my bucket list. But I feel like there's something of an origin of Ireland or, England, Ireland, Irish. So I don't know if that's your heritage. But I feel like when I say Ireland, there's a connection to your relatives. There's a connection to that. I almost want to feel like, grandmother, grandfather, like that kind of energy. And I feel like there's something to do with like beyond the immediate family. So even though the families have this thing going on, it's like going beyond that. Very, very highly psychic, by the way, extremely highly psychic. And you actually see spirit. So you actually can see spirit. Like where I was a kid and I felt it, you saw it. So you still see it today, and you saw it more objectively as a child. You may still see it objectively, but it's more mentally, right? So it's more mental mediumship. I feel like you're a medium, so you're moving and you're doing that work already. And you're going to be doing some platform. If you're not doing platform already, you're going to be doing some platform. So I don't know how all the rules are going to be changing, but I see in-person platform, starting like smaller platform and then kind of growing. So, but you have a mentor, I believe, like, I feel like I'm talking to her. So I feel like you have a mentor and you'll be continuing to kind of move more into that and also more into development, but public speaking, like gallery readings and things like that. If you haven't already done it on Zoom, you're going to do it in person. So I see that. But you have to tell me the connection with Ireland because it's really strong.
I'll have to ask her about that connection because I'm not sure about that one. But I have she's actually one of my mentees, and I that's a vision I had for her was platform work. And
Oh, wow.
you're right, she can actually see spirit. Beautiful. That's, you know what, you are spot on. Like, you guys, if you all need a reading, you definitely got to go to Tina, because girl, you don't even have, now hear me out, I always have permission from all of them to have this reading. So we are energetically going into
Yes.
their energy. I have full permission to do this from every single one of them. And it was just bang on. You don't see them, you don't know them, you're getting minimal, like you're not getting no feedback at all. And it would just, you're spot on every single one of them, like
Oh,
bang on.
thank you. I have to tell you, this is the first time I've done this. So really, this is really spirit is like, okay, honey, we're gonna up the ante. Because when you hear a name, usually you hear the voice, and the voice of the other person is kind of helping the vibration, even if they're saying yes or no.
Mhm.
And so this is really interesting. So it's interesting how it lands, and so it just shows how we can evolve in many ways, right? So thanks.
And you know what's interesting? I'm gonna let you know. I I mean I've had lots of mentors and teachers, but when I first started out, my teacher said write. So I took that very literally. I'm like, okay, I better write this out. I'm gonna, who's my first, I call them victims. No, I'm kidding. Who's my first person I'm going to read? We call them sitters, actually.
Right.
And I thought that's what you had to do was, and then as I went on, did all these psychic fairs and all this stuff, and I grew and I learned that, okay, actually people don't do what I do. And even starting this podcast, there's been people like going, oh, actually, I don't work that way. So I'd be happy to do a healing, but everybody's been so open and so great about this. So I'm shocked when somebody tells me, hey, they don't work that way.
Right, right. Well, I was taught, when I moved from the Reiki work and I got all the messages that way, and I started working with the angels. And when I was taught with angel card readings or angel readings, you know, you it wasn't really like you were fishing for information. They would talk, you would talk, and you would use that vibration of the words to go back and forth. And when more people, when people would speak, I would get even more. I would get even more. I would get even more. Then you go get into your development realm and you're like, oh, mediumship, don't tell me anything.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what? Because I was so used to that, hearing the sound or hearing the vibration. But then it's like, well, don't feed them anything.
Mhm.
So then it's sometimes too quiet and I'm used to, so you're always learning, we're always learning
Right? Right? Yeah, don't feed the
constantly.
medium. Don't feed the medium.
Right. And it's like, yeah. And I think that's the other thing too. And I don't know how you feel about this, Tanya, is we can take all these classes and love all our teachers, but at the end of the day, we have to be who we are. So if I chose to pull a card, or if I'm talking about the chakra or this or that, that's okay, because that's who I am and that's who you are. And that's what makes us special. So if we all did the exact same thing, how boring that would be. Right. So I think we need to know that it doesn't always have to be, name, rank, serial number. It can be many different things, but those things are important too, right? Because, you could be, it's just, we can't put ourselves in a box, because I think we need to be who we are, and spirit will work with us the way that we're meant to be, because we're all different. So,
I love that. Yes, 100%, 100%. I have a coaching background, and so I'm definitely bringing in the coaching and uplifting. I don't wanna hear about I don't so do you get this? I get this quite often. I don't wanna hear nothing bad. I'm scared to connect
yes,
with a psychic 'cause I'll see
yes,
something bad,
yes, all the time.
right? And I don't want it in my life, so I'm not bringing it forward for you.
Right. Well, I always say to people, because people, that's the biggest thing. And I'm always like, I don't see death and I don't see dying. I don't see disease, death, dying. Um, Even in Reiki, I may see a blocked, like a chakra or an area, and I might have the guidance to say, oh, blah, blah, blah. But it's never like, this is happening. It's not the way I work to instill any fear into somebody. So I don't predict death, I don't predict dying, and I don't predict disease. And so if in Reiki, though, I sense energy just differently, I might say, oh, what's going on here, in your knee or whatever. But it's never like, oh my goodness, you have this thing and you need to go to the doctor, because it's not that. And so that's just not the way I work. And I also feel like it's putting, that would be working from fear and not from love,
Mhm.
you know.
I'm so with you. I say the same thing. I'm like, "I'm not God." I don't you know, and I don't wanna say, "Hey, you know what? You're gonna pass away tomorrow, so you should stay in." You
Right.
know? Ah!
Right. Yeah.
No, no, I'm not
It's
trying to
not that type of energy where it was in the fortune teller, or like this is, or, people that are really,
Yeah,
unfortunately not in the light like that.
right? And pure love.
Yeah.
I love see, I knew we worked well together.
Yes,
I love
absolutely.
this. This is so, so much fun. Would you be open to coming back again and being on again?
Oh my goodness. I would be honored. Absolutely honored. This was such a pleasure. Wonderful to meet you. And I learned so much. I learned the whole numbers, which I didn't even realize. I never did a reading like this with just someone's name. So I really feel like this has been a phenomenal, phenomenal connection. And I know we'll continue. So anytime, Tanya. Yes.
Great. Okay, so don't say that because I might have you on every other day. No, I'm just kidding. I would love to have you on again. So we'll work something out. I think that maybe you and I should work together too and come up with something to do together. I think that'd be
Would
fun
love
as
it.
well. Yeah, me
Would
too.
love it. We'll have to, and I'll have to get you on the Intuitive Women podcast. I would love to have you on a guest. So I'll be reaching out to you as well.
Sounds perfect. All right. For now, thank you so much for listening in, and I will have all of Tina's information below. You guys have to get a reading for her. She's absolutely phenomenal. Thank you again, Tina, so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.